Welcome to Truth Sentinel, watching over the truth in the news. I'm back with my co-host Seth. It's been a long break, so welcome back, anyone who's listening today. Um, I probably haven't publicised this as well as I should have done, but just thought we'd get back into the swing of things and say hello to everyone, catch up on what's been going on. We took a break because I got a couple of strikes on both channels, and we were one away from being deleted. And whilst I don't really want to stay on YouTube anymore, we need it to propel and transition to Rumble. I was streaming to Rumble up until about a second ago when it seems like that's not working. So we'll just stream on YouTube. Maybe in the half-time break I'll try and get that working, but otherwise we'll just stay here for today anyway. That's where most people are anyway, and we've got the chat room on here somewhere. Let me try. Oh, there we are. We've got some people already back. Let us know if we're coming through clearly, and let me just say hello to Seth first. Seth, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good, Scott. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Things have been pretty good, actually. Just been taking it easy over here in Thailand on the island of Samui. And to be honest, I love it here. It's, all through the pandemic and up until now, despite what's going on in the world, it's just been a peaceful place to hang out, really. So, yeah, sometimes you just want to forget about everything that's going on. And this place is a great place to do that. How about you?
Oh, been living, man. First off, shout out to Kieran and James in the chat there. Glad to have people already a part of this. It's awesome. But I've been busy working on remodeling my new place to live and stuff, which has been really cool.
Did you say working on your modeling? I didn't know you
remodeling.
were...
Remodeling. Yeah, like
home
repair.
Maybe this cat is part of your new cat.
Oh, no. That's what I got the hair for, man. That's what I got the hair for.
Cool. Just checking.
But yeah, I've been working on that, just staying busy, staying up with news, working up on music, quite a bit of it, just staying busy, doing what I got to do, trying to lose weight, get in shape, all that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, I've been doing that too, doing the Muay Thai boxing, going to the gym, swimming, and also dabbling in the music as well. I've been playing guitar for a number of years, but not really getting anywhere, just hit a plateau. But recently I've been really trying to focus on learning about music theory and just going to the next level with guitar. So, and it's kind of, I've decided that over the next 10 years I want to get to kind of like a very good level. Yeah,
sounds good.
Music is another way to escape from what's going on.
Oh, you betcha. That's absolutely what I've used it for. It's why I started doing the house rat stuff and trying to do electronic music and everything like that instead of just doing the conscious hip hop, just because it was too similar to doing new stuff after a while. And it was kind of just like negative feedback loop over and over and over again. And that shit gets really exhausting and tiring. But at least by doing music, it's a contrast back and forth there. So it creates its own little escape, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe let's start. We're just having a very quick look at the BBC website, and then we'll probably get on to our first topic. Let me just see if I can show this. It's been a while. I'm getting used to the technology again. That's partly the reason for today's show. Just nothing too serious, although there's plenty of serious things going on. But I mean, a little bit light-hearted and just a welcome back for everyone. So, of course, straight away we've got the Gaza being pushed into abyss, UN says, as Israel prepares ground offensive. And we'll probably start off with, obviously, that story. The rest of it is lots of old people dying. I mean, is it because of that poisonous thing that a lot of people got a couple of years ago and are still getting? Nothing else that really grabs me, apart from there's an eclipse going on somewhere in the world. Have you seen any eclipses today, Seth?
No, right when we had the eclipse and whatnot, I believe that was yesterday, it was just absolute terrible weather here. And so it's just can't see jack squat. It's wonderful. Very Washington sort of a reaction.
Yeah. Well, I'm just having a quick scan through, but we can come back to that later anyway. I just thought we'd have a quick share. We might as well get on to the top story, which is obviously what's happening in Israel. I think everyone's seen the. I think this the scenes that initially struck me the most, and probably a lot of people, were the music festival. We'll go into the ins and outs of things a bit more in a minute, but for me, that was kind of like I just imagined myself being there, and how that would have been pretty terrifying. I mean, was that your kind of first
Well,
news you came across? Was that music festival or anything else?
as a conspiracy theorist, my interpretations of all that stuff is always going to be different. I mean, you and I remember another music festival, I believe a country music festival in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, with some other dodgy circumstances around it. So, I mean, I'm always more than a bit skeptical, especially when some event is used for grist to justify the murder of like tons of people and just whatever is your new geopolitical foreign policy that you're using. I mean, we've seen it a lot. People already all over the news are calling this Israel's Pearl Harbor or new 9/11 or something like that. And so, I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. But what I first heard was actually the response, because I didn't originally hear about the Hamas rockets until days later, when Israel has already like started a major response with missile strikes and shit like that all over the place. The death count there is climbing astronomically. I believe they had about like 1,300 Israelis dead and like 3,000, 4,000 injured, and like 7,000 plus Palestinians injured and like over 3,000 dead. So, I mean, it's getting pretty fucking nasty up in there. Some of the first footage I actually saw on the ground there was the ridiculousness of the Hamas guys with like lawnmower, like helicopter blade things on their back. It was
like something out of James Bond, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was fucking no. It was like something out of James Bond from the 1950s or 60s. Man, it was absolutely pathetic. That we're supposed to believe that like the Iron Dome system and all this sort of stuff. I mean, I've seen a lot of people in the IDF or former IDF people say it's absolutely impossible that they would have let these people across the border in mass and do any of this stuff, because we're talking about a defense grid where there's constant cameras on everything, where there's people who like man on the ground, eyes on the prize type stuff there constantly. Nobody just gets to just sit around and hunky-dory like fuck off just because there's a music festival going on somewhere in the country. It seems suspect. It's weird.
Yeah, although I tend to, well, I mean, I'm the same. I treat a lot of it with skepticism. Some there might be some fakery going on, but I tend to think some of it is going to be real as well.
Well, the country is real.
Yeah. What I mean is, like, it could be a false flag, as in they obviously knew. I mean, even
and just let it happen. Because it could literally still be a massacre that they allowed to happen. Absolutely, in every conceivable way. I've never thought that any of that is ever impossible. I mean, in the same way, Pearl Harbor could have entirely been allowed by the U.S. government, and all those people could still be dead. Same with 9/11. Same with any of that. You know what I mean? In fact, it's actually better if a lot of people do die, because then it's harder to put the lie to it. So,
yeah. What I mean is, like, they obviously knew it was going to happen, and they don't care about killing their own population. I think some people find that hard to accept, but I don't think they would. I mean, let's face it, in Israel, they're already they've been injecting people with poisonous shots. Yeah, so they wouldn't have any qualms about letting it happen, but that's just one theory anyway. But I do think the music festival was probably real. I think some of the deaths that went on there were probably real. I don't think there has to be necessary crisis actors, for example. I think they would quite happily let their own civilians die. So I think when I'm saying I imagine being there, assuming it is real and assuming there isn't fakery going on, then it would have still been terrifying for some of the people there. Assuming it happened, yeah, I always take everything with a bit of a pinch of salt, but so I thought I've been doing a bit of research on the whole situation. I thought I'd give look through some of my notes and mention my side of things, and then see where you stand on it as well, then, Seth. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's totally cool, man.
So let me just scan through my notes. Yeah, actually, the first thing I would say is that we can take all of the published history and anything from the mainstream media, even up until the present day events, with skepticism. That was one of the first things I wrote. And that goes for history as well as to what happened in the past. I was looking through various websites and watching various videos, and everyone had their own opinion of what's happening there, but considered it was all correct. So there's so much bias, and I think you just need to look at all the different sides and make up your own opinion, really, and then accept that your opinion is probably not 100% on either. I mean, obviously, a lot of people these days would say that this was always Palestinian land, the Israelis stole it. And certainly in modern history, you could say that appears to be true. Not necessarily they stole it, but they were given it after the First World War, and obviously in 1948 when Israel became a nation, they kicked everyone out. But Israelis would say that, well, historically this land was theirs because this goes back to biblical history, and I've heard some people sort of talk about that as a kind of made up stories, which didn't necessarily happen. But then there are biblical archaeologists that say no, some of these events did happen. There's archaeological evidence.
Granted, yeah, I get you.
Let me finish the my little preamble, and then you can let me know what you think. So, I mean, I'm just going to ramble a bit. So, whatever happened in recent history, I think most people, if you look into it, would agree that the Palestinian people have been treated pretty badly in modern times. Whatever the truth is about the whole situation, but then again, you could say, well, that the Hamas and the PLO have also committed atrocities, and I think you need to separate the Palestinian people from some of these groups. Personally, Hamas, what they did, allegedly did, and apparently did recently, I would say that's terrorism. There's no place for it, and killing young people, children, anyone really, innocent people. I think I don't condone. I don't care about the history. I don't care what's happened on both sides. And this applies to the Israeli government committing atrocities as well, blowing up, families. There's no excuse for that. It doesn't even matter about the history. And I think in some cases, with some of these, assuming some of the videos we saw are true, with Hamas dragging naked women on the back of pickup trucks and stuff, assuming that's true, there's no place for that. And if again the videos are true and you see people spitting on the bodies, that doesn't seem to be about a land issue. That is just to do with just genuine evil, I think. And but after looking through everything that went on through the history, it's pretty complicated. But some people were then saying, no, it's pretty simple. Israel stole the land. But then you can go back thousands of years, and in Roman times, there was it was alleged that they kicked the Jews out of an area, Judea, and renamed it Palestine or something like that. So they have claims, and obviously there's the religious issue, which complicates matters as well. So I wonder if it's still a land issue anymore anyway, because the generations that got actually kicked out of the area that was called Palestine, most of those are dead anyway. So this is kind of like, even for people, young Hamas fighters now, I don't know if it's about any land issue for those particular fighters. For me, those kind of people just tend to like killing anyway. When it comes to the biblical part, I think it's just a question of people who believe the Bible. They're going to be more sympathetic to the Israeli nation or Israeli people. People who don't believe the Bible are probably going to be more likely to say, no, this is Palestinian land and they've just kicked out of their land. So the religious aspect complicates it a bit for some people anyway. Personally, I don't think this situation is likely to be resolved. It's just one of those things that's going to go on. I wish it could, but personally, I don't think it is. Let's see if there's anything else I want to add. Teaching and education systems on both sides, they raise their kids in Israel to hate the Palestinians. The Palestinians raise their kids to hate the Israelis, and that's been going on for years. I've seen documentaries, and I think the teachers responsible for that. I think they're to blame for this. They're partly to blame for this entire situation. But as for the recent events, I agree, or at least a lot of people agree, that this was allowed to happen. And it looks like now they're going to go into Gaza and decimate the place. And this could drag us all into World War III. Let's just see if there's anything else I want to add. I mean, I did look at all the history with the 6-Day War, and obviously the British were involved in the past. The UN helped split up Palestine. There was, some of these wars actually expanded the land for Israel. Personally, I just came to the conclusion that I support innocent civilians on both sides. I don't favor the Israeli government. I certainly don't favor Hamas or any other groups that are just going to kill innocent people. I support the innocent civilians on both sides. And I hope there's peace, but I don't really see it coming. I think that's probably it then. Seth, how about you?
Let's see. Where do I start?
I've lost my
first, I want. Yeah, you have. I was wondering there. I thought you did that on purpose. No, but oh, there you go. You're back. Anybody in the chat there that wants to weigh in? First, I wanted to just ask you to start kind of like dropping a little bit of what you guys think is going on, because just add to the conversation, keep it going and whatnot, because everybody has nuance to add on this one. Let's see. Historically, let's start with that one, because that is the oldest, and we'll start with the quote unquote beginning of any of this. If we're going with historical claims on any given land, then what, the Roman Empire? Chinese empires? Which one? Russian Empire? Are we just going to give the land to any of these people because their ancestors have a claim to it on one land?
Australia,
exactly. Whether or not we're talking about like anything when it comes to historical or religious justifications to have a land be yours, people can get real creative with any of that. I think genuinely the idea that any group of people have land deeds because of historical like ties is kind of tenuous. And if you're one of those like give the country back or type people, they're, what is it, land back, I believe is what they call it, then maybe you're on that tip and you're gonna be down for it, and the idea that other people no thank you. Yeah, sorry. Somebody's just asking me for tea. But
damn it, I wish somebody would ask me.
But yeah, it's some land back people would probably think that it's entirely fine if you have historical claims to a land to be like, well, I'll get all the non-natives out of the United States or Australia or Canada or wherever, right? There's a lot of people that are on that tip.
Yeah, but just about in very quickly, there's a lot of people who would be really pro-Palestine, say, yeah, give them their land back. But they probably come from countries where, would they be prepared to get out of their country because of the historical ancestors? Yeah, I was thinking that myself, yeah.
It's definitely something. But then going historically with when this all started, 1947 is the creation of the state of Israel, and it's specifically the exact opposite of the situation that we see today. It was instead supposed to be small Jewish conclaves that were given little bits of land by the United Nations, British government by proxy, right? Gives part of British Palestine to a bunch of Jewish settlers to create the modern state of Israel. A lot of those people that are part of that government there are former members of the Irgun, Stern Gang, stuff like that. So, I mean, in the same exact way that the IRA has a very, very prominent hand in Irish politics, and thus the terrorism angle is there, so too with the state of Israel is like a serious connection to actual grassroots terror movements of the all the way to from the late 1800s until the late 40s, when it became the state of Israel and a lot of these terrorists became politicians. I do believe that you might say that, okay, people that have lost their land in 1947, a lot of them might not still be alive, but people from the 7-Day War and stuff, or the 6-Day War, if we're talking like 1967, then yeah, a lot of those people are still alive, man. A lot of those people that have directly had their homes taken from them as individuals and whatnot are still alive and can still point to that. I think that's one of the biggest problems a lot of people have with this historically, is the fact that it's a pretty clear-cut case of colonialism being given a free pass because the people that are committing it are mostly quote unquote white passing, when I have a feeling that if a bunch of people that were not white passing, let's say a bunch of very dark skinned people, let's say the Ethiopians, if you will, we get certain groups of these Christian/Jewish separatists that are black that believe that they're the real Jews. I have a feeling it'd be a little bit different if those people were attempting to colonize Israel right now, or colonize Palestine right now en masse with guns and tanks and all this shit. I think people would have a slightly different impression. But because they're more connected to a white Christian Judeo background from Europe specifically, people are overall a lot more open to this, because the people that are being victimized are mostly brown Muslim people. And unfortunately, I do think that angle plays a very, very big part in it. We've seen absolutely heinous rhetoric, yes, on both sides, big time, but especially when it comes to Western Christian sources from Europe, and especially the United States, Australia, Canada. We have seen absolutely horrific rhetoric where people are like endorsing everything from the mass extermination of Muslims or Palestinian people, or any of it, to the point where people say insane shit that Israel or anyone is never going to do, turn it all into a glass parking lot. Right? These are people that want to colonize this land. They're not going to absolutely demolish everything in that sense. It's more like, drop rockets and bombs and shit on city blocks and go in with bulldozers, bulldoze all the shit down and rebuild new buildings and stuff, so that their colonists can have land. They're settlers, as they call them, because that's the thing. That's the game. It's a squatters' rights type game. And if you have the guys with the guns to back you up, to push other people off their land and take it and sit on it, then you become the new squatters that are there. And eventually people just call it your land. I mean, for God's sakes, at one point it was just Palestine with the Israeli conclaves that existed there. Then it became Israel Palestine. Then it became Israel Gaza, which is what they're referring to it now. And eventually it'll just be Israel, man. If we're looking at the size of this stuff, historically, the actual land mass that has changed over here in terms of ownership is fucking extreme. It's super extreme. I mean, there's parts of Syria that have been annexed that were not given to Israel by the British government or by the United Nations. There was no agreement on any of that. The Golan Heights region literally belonged to Syria until Israel just came in and took it. And that's the thing, is once the United States or England or Russia or anybody starts recognizing those borders as the new official recognizable borders of the nation of Israel, then essentially Palestinians, Syrians, Egyptians, Turks, Lebanese people, doesn't matter what country is being taken from there, you're essentially just fucked, because the entire rest of the international community is going to look at you like you're the monster at that point. And I mean, come on, they're God's chosen people. I mean, we'll get into that angle, and I definitely intend to get into that angle, because I think the religious angle is every bit as important as the racism thing.
Absolutely.
Getting into another aspect of this is the fact that Hamas was openly funded by Israeli intelligence. That's something that Netanyahu himself has connections to, that you can look up right now. Google it.
Yeah. No, I'd heard during my research.
He's gotten major shit in the Israeli press because of that.
Mm-hmm. So they set up their own terrorist group to attack their own civilians, and then it gives them a reason to take the rest of that land.
Yeah, it's almost like you've heard of this group before. This what is it? Al Qaeda? What is it? The base, I believe, there over in Saudi Arabia originally, moved them to Pakistan and Afghanistan and stuff. Yeah, I wonder who would do that. Where the playbook comes from, because people will try and just exclusively point at Israel or something, like it's Jews, right? But a lot of the playbook that the Israeli government runs is stuff they got from the United States and from England. Because a lot of stuff that the United States runs is military tactics and counterintelligence tactics from the United Kingdom. Because the UK has been running this shit the whole time in terms of intelligentsia. It's pretty disgusting to see the propaganda war also, because there's a serious aspect of propaganda war here where, by omission, where they don't even have to mention anything of what's going on. I mean, how many people here have no idea of the distinction between Hamas and a Palestinian person? It's every bit as much as we were just talking about the IRA, the difference between the Irish Republican Army and an Irish citizen. The average person that's not an Irishman or Irish woman has no fucking idea of what the difference is.
I think with some people, they just think this, they actually kind of, the way they talk, oh, damn this camera. I have to get a new camera soon. The way they talk is like Hamas are a fluffy group of friendly people who are just trying to get their land back. But they're not really. Hamas are just a group of killers, basically.
Well, originally they're a terrorist organization that was founded to destabilize and destroy the power base of the PLO, which was founded by, I believe, Yasser Arafat. And he was a major thorn in the side of the nation state of Israel until his death. And the PLO has been considered like persona non grata in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv for a very, very long time. It's actually one of the things that Israel has pushed very, very hard is the attempt to create like a fractions or fracturings within any sort of real power base that could happen there. And of course, you know, with the United States destabilizing almost every single country around Israel or Palestine, then it kind of leads that people would just give up, move. I mean, of course, you know, a bunch of people here, and we see this in the conspiracy theory angle a lot of people talking about the, you know, waves of Muslim immigration or North African immigration, and they're like pushing them all in Europe and everything. I'm like, what do you think is causing those people to flee the fucking countries in the first place, bud? What war from the United Kingdom, from the United States, from Canada, Australia, whoever that's helping to bomb countries and destabilize Syria, Iraq, trying to destabilize Yemen? Do you not think that any of this shit like bleeds over, destabilize Egypt? Like all of this shit matters, and it all destabilizes the entire region, which causes people to flee because nobody wants to live in a warscape hellhole. Right? Nobody.
Well, it sounds like Gaza is a difficult place to flee from, though, isn't it?
That's the thing, is Israel saying that Hamas isn't allowing anyone to leave, and a lot of other sources are saying that the IDF is not allowing people to leave. Because that's the kind of stuff I was trying to explain to people is like, well, why don't people just leave? Anybody that had money in order to flee Palestine already left like a hot minute ago, man. If you had any disposable income to get the fuck out of there, you done left. And in some cases, people have come back, but mostly they're gone. And so
some people tried to leave the other day and allegedly got blown up as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is how many people have to do that before people just stop leaving? Because that's
here's a comment from Kieran. Regardless of whose land it is, pretty sure God wouldn't be impressed with killing innocent babies. Seem to be lost on. I think Kieran's talking about both sides here. Like you've got the
big time
Arabs, the Muslims, Jews, who are all supposed to believe that it's wrong to kill people, but then they go around slaughtering each other. So
when it comes to
really
babies,
make a lot of sense.
When it comes to babies there, it just depends on whether or not you call it a sacrifice. You know what I mean? Because both of them are down with the Abrahamic tradition of the idea of, Isaac being sacrificed or faux sacrificed upon the altar to Yahweh there. I mean, neither of them have a problem with that. So I suppose it's all a matter of framing, isn't it? If you just consider all of these people sacrifices for the greater good, then I suppose none of it matters, man. And of course, as we've seen, and that's what I guess I'm going to get into before we start going into news articles, is the religious angle of this, is because there's a lot of people out there that if you're Christian, either like Zionism, I don't think I have to explain the idea of what Zionism is here. Anybody that's listening should be pretty aware of what the concept is, and you're either pretty for it, against it, or indifferent about it, but you're probably aware of what the fuck it is. So continuing on there, Christian Zionism.
I'm just checking if anyone can hear any audio issues. So I'm hearing like little choppy sounds from. I don't know if it's your mic or whether it's just my earphones. So I'm just checking.
I think but I hear it on your end every now and then. There's little like electric pops, like hisses and shit like that.
Okay, yeah, I'm hearing that from yours as well. So I don't know where that's coming from.
Hopefully it's neither. James says audio's good. So
they'll say okay. Cool. So yeah, it must be just us then.
Yeah. But with the religious angle, you have Christians in a lot of cases, Zionists, some cases not, but attempting to like very, how would you say this, Machiavellianly decide to support Israel in the and to support entirely like a warmongering effort in an attempt to create the third temple, destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque, create the third temple, usher in the end of days, because to Christians at the end of it all, Jesus comes back. And so of course you want to be a part of Jesus coming back, right? I think that level of apocalypse worship is pretty fucking scary. Then you combine that with a bunch of Jewish people to whom they want their millennial kingdom and everything, right? And so of course they need to foment the building of the third temple. And then for Muslims, they're like, well, it's kind of the end of days. We need to see the Mahdi and stuff. So let's pop it the fuck off. And so they're on the exact same tip.
There might be that going on, but to be honest, I mean, if you think of people like Joe Biden and the American government, I don't believe any of those people are really Christians at all. So
I don't know, Scott. There's some pretty spooky shit, at least as far as what they're willing to say, man. Pompeo, Trump's former head of staff there,
and Satanists, I would say. People like Joe Biden.
One man's Satanist is another man's deep, devoted Christian, dude. And that's because it's all a matter of perspective.
Well, the way I see Satanists, they worship Satan, not God. So that doesn't really tie in. But there are some stupid people around, so who knows?
Well, most of these people that I'm saying, though, Scott, is most of the people that are the real fucking monsters and stuff don't think of themselves as monsters. They literally don't. They think that what they're doing is justified. It's the justification of the level of like dehumanization you put on other people that causes the idea that it's okay to do any of it. And again, like I said, it depends on your perspective, because if you're a super religious person, you might think, well, I mean, it's prophecy, so it's all going to happen regardless. And it's fine that it's happening. And these people are just pawns caught up in the prophecy. And so it's actually the strings being pulled by God behind the scenes that are causing all of these decisions to happen in order to foment the final millennial kingdom, or the great book of Revelations.
Let's stop there for a second and address that. Is there any part of you that wonders? I mean, first of all, do you think there's a God? Let's go straight to that.
Yeah, I think there's a God, but I don't believe in YHWH. I don't believe in the Abrahamic God. Tetragrammaton.
Okay, but let's for a second. I mean, if we look at what's happening in the world, we've got let's say the mark of the beast. So in Revelations it says that everyone's going to get the mark on the hand or the forehead. They won't be able to buy or sell. In Revelations it says that there will be a great battle in the land that we most people, scholars, would agree is Israel. They even name the place Megiddo, the Battle of Armageddon. That's all going to happen in the end of time. What else?
What about the bugs with the locusts with human faces? What about that?
So they've got the locusts with human faces later on. You've got the plagues coming later. But is there any part of you that, if all these things started to come together, like let's say a world leader did emerge who tried to stop some of the chaos in the world if it gets even more chaotic, and for some reason this person was connected to the number 666 and did cause everyone to get a vaccine mark or something, and you couldn't buy or sell, you were part of the social credit system, and then there was all these armies. Maybe everyone turns against Israel and they all start gathering around Megiddo in Israel. Would there be any part of you that thought either they're making this happen or this is actually true?
I think it'd be the first part of making it happen, because when you believe something so wholeheartedly, confirmation bias could completely and totally blind you. To somebody that's part of an ancient Aztec civilization, when you're watching the guy sacrifice somebody and there you see the eclipse in the sky, and then your great high priest comes and cuts the heart out of somebody and pulls it up, and then the sun comes back out, the darkness leaves as the great, the heart there is sacrificed to whoever, Quetzalcoatl or whoever. Like that is real. That is 100% real to those people in the moment. They believe it, right? And nothing else will change their perspective on that. So they're making it happen, essentially. And it doesn't matter that to somebody that's a non-believer, all of this is complete and total bullshit that's like explicable through totally natural means, and that the brutality that's being waged upon other people is such a very human thing to do. But I don't know, man. I know that I'm a great unbeliever on a lot of this, and it's specifically because of seeing how much other people want to believe and seeing the justification of religious massacre and manipulation and genocide and destruction and just horrific shit, man. People will justify even basic levels of discrimination and of like social hate crime shit on other people because of religion. And I mean that in terms of, as we can see, the same group, be it Christians, Jews, Muslims, whatever, that same group of people that could be like, just throw out a random example here, homosexuality, if you will, there. Those people, some of them will say, there's nothing wrong with that. My religion would never justify violence against that. However, there's a ton of other people that would say, fuck that. My religion would completely justify violence against those people, and it's a moral imperative that I commit such. That's one single issue, man. That's one single thing in our society that we can see that people's like adherence to religion and belief about religion gets them to act horrifically to their fellow man and woman.
I would link a lot of that to stupidity. Because a
lot of atheists would link stupidity to religion. I don't, because I still like understand it. But like, dude,
if you look at the teachings of Jesus, he'd be like your modern day hippie who's just like, no man, be peaceful, and you know.
Would he, considering he's like overthrowing the money changer temple and shit like that, and like telling people I'm coming back with a sword and stuff? Like, I don't know how much of a hippie he would be, considering he'd be considered a hardcore religious radical.
Would be like, the money changer thing would be like walking onto the stock market and say you're all a bunch of, you know, capitalist bastards, you know, like. So I don't think that was necessarily an evil move.
I didn't say evil. I just said it's going to be a little bit more militant and a little bit more extreme than a soft hippie, right? Because most hippies weren't nearly as extreme as Christ could be seen as, considering he tells people to sell their cloak and buy a sword. Like that.
I think there's only a couple of phrases that Jesus said that anyone could even say he was an aggressive person. I mean, most of the time by his actions, you can see he's not. This is my personal view anyway, but
well, I don't know, man. The whole like worship me or burn for eternity.
That wasn't, Jesus never said that though.
No, so I know, but that's part and parcel of the whole religion.
But when it comes to a couple of phrases, one about the sword or something, it's there are ways to explain that in another way, in different interpretations. Anyway, he didn't seem to be like an aggressive kind of guy. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. But I think what going back to Kieran's point, regardless of whose land it is, pretty sure God wouldn't be impressed. What I mean by stupidity is like the people who go to abortion clinics and they're like, killing babies is wrong, and then they go and kill the doctor because they think, you know, this is righteous.
Or they support the U.S. government who bombs children and shit all the time. And so, again, or support the cops. Yeah. Blue Lives Matter, and even when the cops shoot kids or some shit. So, yeah, no, I get you. It's total hypocrisy.
And there's a lot of stupidity, you know. Most of these religions are supposed to be peaceful. There's some religions I feel that even if you look at their own teachings, they're not that peaceful. But let's say they're supposed.
Are you talking about Islam there, Scott? Are you talking about Islam?
Maybe I am. No, just because this is just my personal view. Islam, just if you look at the teachings and some of the what are they called, hadiths with the stories.
Yeah, the hadiths.
They're just like, but this is kind of violent. This is violent behavior, I would say, in comparison to Jesus. But then other people are going to disagree with me on that. But never mind. By the way, let's have more comments in the chats about what you guys think and any other things you want us to talk about as well. What else can we say about this? What's going on? I mean, personally, I think it's the start of something big. I think this could be the catalyst for World War III. It could be the catalyst for nations to turn against Israel, and then maybe this Battle of Armageddon. It could be something else. What do you think it is, sir?
Well, I mean, first they'd say before the Battle of Armageddon, you have to have the Battle of Gog and Magog. You've read your Bible, you know that, Scott, right?
Yeah,
they say that supposedly it's going to be Russia and somebody.
Russia's supposed to be Gog or Magog. I've forgotten which one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I believe it's supposed to be the United States and Russia, and it's ridiculous. I don't really buy a lot of that kind of stuff, but there is an order of succession to it, right? But when it comes to World War III, we do have some articles that we can talk about here in a bit that actually pertain to that and are a pretty big deal. I mean, Iran has said repeatedly to back the fuck off the Palestine situation. Israel is pointing at them directly and are saying that Hamas was 100% funded by the Iranians to sow dissent and to try and kill Jews and start a World War III. Essentially, of course, obviously, Iran isn't like, taking credit for that, because that would be really fucking stupid on their part right now, with the United States literally threatening to have surgical strikes against like Iran's oil fields and stuff, just the sort of shit that would literally start World War III. Because Russia's invested in Iran, China's invested in Iran, and as much as both of those countries kiss ass on Israel all the time when it's convenient, if it starts hurting their own bottom line and pocketbooks, you bet your ass you will start seeing missiles fly, dude. And we're not talking about going to fucking Tel Aviv or Gaza or none of that shit. We're talking about going to the United States and Europe, man. And it's it's not going to be.
Seth, I'm gonna go and get the Truth Sentinel cat just to say hello quickly.
Oh, good. I hope Kitty Cat's doing well there. Let's see. We got Bonnie Bonbon has your belief. Non-belief is your belief. Lol. Atheism is a belief. Well, I'm not an atheist, but yeah, atheism is a belief. I could actually agree with that. Hot Retarded Chick says audio check mark. Kieran Dunn, even the way random Russians are treated here in the UK is ridiculous. That is a fact. I've noticed that like huge, man. But that's also because it's a propaganda war. In the same way that Muslim people in general, brown people, honestly, as long as you looked Muslim to a lot of Americans a little bit after 2001, people were fucking horrible, man. People were absolutely fucking horrible because you were treated like you're a terrorist, like you're potentially part of the 9/11 crew or something like that, just because the color of your skin or because you're wearing a turban or you've got a head wrap on or something like that. Then it means that you're some sort of terrorist. But the True Sentinel cat looking good.
Yep. He's just
looking great.
He's also doing it today.
He's precious. Absolutely precious.
What do you think?
But Russia has also warned the United States. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, he actually didn't have much to say, so carry on.
Okay, I can start getting into news articles here. We have this out of businessinsider.com. Another U.S. Navy carrier strike group is heading to waters near Israel, where it'll join a large amount of American firepower already there. I thought that was kind of spooky stuff, considering we have the USS Dwight Eisenhower and several other vessels would join a group of ships already in the area. I believe that could mean that the USS Liberty isn't going to show up, but, I wonder. I remember something to do with that when it came to Israel and U.S. Navy, but maybe somebody will have to Google that one. We have Iran warns of far-reaching consequences if Israel not stopped. The United Nations on October 14th here, so earlier today, Iran warned in a social media post on Saturday that if Israel's war crimes and genocide, quote unquote, are not stopped, then the situation could spiral out of control with far-reaching consequences. The post on X, I keep forgetting Twitter is now called X, by Iran's mission to the United Nations came after Axios reported Tehran warned Israel in a message sent via the United Nations that it would have to respond if Israel carries out a ground offensive in the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip. Quote, if the Israeli apartheid's war crimes and genocide are not halted immediately, the situation could spiral out of control and ricochet far-reaching consequences, the responsibility of which lies with the United Nations, the Security Council, and the states steering the council towards a dead end, Iran's UN mission posted. Let's see, continuing. We got a couple more here. And then
just coming back to what you said, X. You're still getting used to X. Yeah, Musk is supposed to be like a genius, right? Supposed to be a genius, and the best name he can, the new name, rebranding, like he comes in and calls it X.
It's the most generic shit. Yeah, it's so stupid.
The most boring, uncreative thing you could possibly ever do. The guy is not a genius.
It sounds like the name of a porn site or something, like just X.com, right? Because like, what else is that going to be?
I guarantee you, they probably spent 6 months coming up with that. Probably paid a team of graphic designers for the logo and just the name.
Well,
and the
Scott, what are
whole.
you talking about? Elon's on our side. He's totally down
Oh
with the
yeah,
conspiracy theorists, man. He's fighting the deep state, bro. Come on, he's owning all the libtards on the left wing, dude. Man, I get so tired of all that
so do
right
I.
wing
Yeah, I think
ridiculous echo chamber crap because those guys
so
just they
stupid.
have no
I
idea
still
what they're
watch.
talking about.
I still watch Alex Jones, and I still like some of the stuff Alex Jones says, but he seems to be losing his perception of who the good
Everything.
people are.
Well, I think it's honestly because Alex has always been out for Alex and selling product and all that kind of stuff. And that's why his morals seem to wish-wash all over the place. And if you were to listen to Alex Jones 10 years ago, listen to Alex Jones 5 years ago, listen to Alex Jones now, there's going to be a pretty marked difference between those three.
He's got better in some ways, but he's got worse in other ways. Like he thinks Trump's the savior. He thinks Elon
Yeah.
Musk. He says he's keeping an open mind, but he really does. He really does go on about these guys too much. But he's still.
Yeah, and Elon Musk
he's
is
slightly
a
insane as
Judas
well.
goat.
Did you see him get choked out the other day by that UFC fighter? That was actually pretty funny.
No, that sounds lovely.
He got a UFC guy to choke him out on camera. It was pretty funny because he just started gurgling and then just made some funny noises. It's worth checking out, seriously.
I don't know, man. I don't like to give any attention to Alex just because dude he reminds me of that kid when you're in elementary school that's like, give me attention, attention, look at me, right? And they'll do anything. I'm going to hurt myself. I'm going to do whatever just to get attention. That's Alex Jones, man. He's a giant flaming dumpster fire of a human being. And as much as I appreciate a lot of what he's done, what?
No, I'll tell you why I still like listening to him, because he does have. Well, I like listening to so many different perspectives, and although he annoys the hell out of me sometimes, he's pretty childish sometimes. I still think he's got a lot of good contacts, and he'll often say stuff which does come true. It's probably because one of his contacts has called up. Like I was listening to the show where he said in 3 months they're gonna. He actually named the month. It was February. Ukraine war is going to start. I've had some people on the phone. He was right, and so I listened for that. And I think there's still some good aspects to him. It's just obviously some of the stuff he says and some of the stuff he does, and his behavior. But I listen to quite a few different people, and I can really dislike different aspects of each of them. And as I'm sure people watching us might even say the same. But I listen to. Do you ever listen to Jeff Berwick?
No.
Yeah, I
sometimes
find
listen to Russell Brand. He's okay. Not really my cup of tea, but he's all right.
Yeah, I find him a bit kind of diluted. But but I think they've all got something to offer. And Jeff Berwick annoys the hell out of me. He's kind of really smug. He's got loads of money, and he just kind of thinks everyone else has as well. And he doesn't get it. I think actually one of the ones that I like best is the guy I interviewed, Max Egan. Everyone check out the interview I did with him. I find him at least he's peaceful. He makes mistakes. He often shows videos of stuff which is he should have checked earlier.
Well, isn't Max a flat earther now? So I mean,
I think he keeps an open mind to it. He sort of says, we don't know what we're living on, which is kind of probably closer to where I come from. Is like,
no,
we could be living, if we're living in, my view is if we're living in I kind of do think we're living in a video game. And inside a video game, let's say if you play your first person shoot video game, are you on a flat plane or are you on a globe? It's like,
yeah, well, and all those are on a flat plane.
It doesn't matter. You're in a video game. Yeah.
No.
It's almost like, well, you're on a flat screen TV in a way. If you're in a video game, you're on a flat screen TV. You're flat anyway.
Well, the reason I say that is just because video games, by their very nature, are based upon like flat geometry, because you have to have a three-dimensional thing, which creates thus a plane, which you have to have a plane of reference, because otherwise,
so
if you
could
have no
argue
reference
that
plane,
in a video game you are on a flat plane. So
but
it's kind of weird concept. In a video game, it almost doesn't matter because you're never gonna go high enough to see that you're on a globe.
Yeah.
So which is kind of how I feel. It's like, well, I think NASA as dodgy as anything. So I'm keeping an open mind to anything. I The way I feel at the moment about the Earth is, if I did go up in a rocket and look down and saw we were on a globe, I'd actually be surprised. That's how I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea, but I just feel we're being lied to about most things. So
Yeah, well,
yeah.
always, because it's easier to lie to people than it is to tell them the truth, because you just have to tell people what they want to hear. And even if it's that what they want to hear is what you've convinced them that they want to hear over their entire lives through subtle propaganda and stuff like that, doesn't really matter. What matters is that they want to hear it now. And so, thus, whoever will continue telling them the tale over and over again is who they will support. So, I mean, getting back on Elon Musk and all that, yeah, no, I think he's definitely a Judas goat. I think he, like a lot of these people, is put out there to get to get conspiracy theorists and people like that to start defending a multi-billionaire that
Well,
is
this
like
is one
part
of
of the
my
elite.
absolutely. To be honest, and you may disagree with me on this, but or you might not. I don't know. Personally, I don't think you can be a billionaire and be a good person. I just don't think it's possible, because every night you go to sleep when there's 10 billion in your bank account, people around the world are dying who you could have saved with most of that money, and still lived the rest of your life happy as anything, with anything you wanted. Nobody needs that amount of money. Nobody. So it's just money sitting in an account which could help people. And so I just think anyone who's a billionaire, unless they're doing something good with it, are pretty much evil, and that includes Elon Musk.
Well, and you've seen what he names his kids. Dude wants to complain that pronouns are hard, but somehow like names his kids like AE, like, or like Ash X12-14, like just the most ridiculous like binary code level, like computer scratch HTML stuff that you can imagine, and then wants to be like, oh God, no, don't call me sis, whatever you do, bud. Like, it just seems like people's especially his priorities are a bit out of whack. But continuing on, we got a
But
little bit more here. Oh yeah,
before you
yeah.
continue, Steph, I thought we could have just a 5 minute break for people to have their
Have their tea.
tea break, and I'm going to put in. I'm just going to put on one of Bob's tracks in the interval,
Nice.
if I can find it. I'll put some
Bob
of yours on
rocks.
as well. We've got plenty of people to share. Well, we've got you and Bob, and anyone else who's got music they want us to play during the intervals. Sorry. Please do send us your clips. I'm just trying to find where I put Bob's thing. Okay, well, we've got here's Gary the brainwashed slave video.
I remember
again.
Gary.
Yeah.
Gary the brainwashed slave believes what he sees on CNN, BBC. Gary the brainwashed slave, useless eater, swallows propaganda in the media theater, cannot think for himself, he doesn't know where it's at. More than happy to be a non-essential lab rat. Gary the brainwashed slave, unaware he's surrounded by mindless idiocy, deception and lies. Gary, the brainwashed slave, has got the heart of a Nazi. Case of Stockholm Syndrome, he cannot see, cannot think for himself. He doesn't know where it's at. More than happy to be a non-essential lab rat. Cannot think for himself. He doesn't know where it's at. More than happy to be a non-essential lab rat. Gary, the brainwashed slave. Gary, the brainwashed slave. Gary, the brainwashed slave. Gary, the brainwashed slave.
Hey, Scott, I believe you're muted up there, man.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say before you continue on about Elon Musk, I just wanted to show you this, which has just happened in the news just a second ago. Let me just get to the headline in a moment. Yeah, I don't know if you can you read that headline there, Seth? I think you're muted as well, actually. Yeah.
Here, tributes paid to rugby player who died during a match.
Yeah, I mean, this is happening on a regular basis now. We had an, I don't know, I wanted to check with you whether it's happening there, but I just wanted to show you another one quickly. That happened,
Oh, yeah, it is. It is.
Happening recently in the UK, which is this one. Just a second. Yeah, this one. This was a girl from a female soccer player, you would say, football player in the UK. Damn it! So I'm still getting used to sharing these files. Yeah, from Sheffield United, a female player, I think, was in the British World Cup squad. Hang on a second.
So obviously not a very unhealthy,
completely how to
not a
do
very
this.
healthy person, right, Scott? You know how unhealthy all these like Olympic level soccer players are.
Right. Yeah. No, she was very healthy. They all seem to be. I don't know why I can't share this at the moment. Anyway, let me. It was basically a girl called Maddie Cusack, and she died mysteriously. And there's been a lot of articles like that on the BBC where people
It's
are just
probably
dying.
climate change.
It's climate change, of course, but people are dying. And it's like nobody knows the cause of death. I mean, with this one that happened today, it's cardiac. They tend to be cardiac issues. People are dropping down dead 27, 28 years old, 30, 40. It's happening every day now in different countries around
If
the world.
only there was
Everyone
something
knows.
that everyone had been forced to get that was the same thing, that had the same
Well,
side
we study
effects associated
mysteries.
with it. Huh.
We study mysteries on this channel, so I thought we could try and find out what it is, because the mystery is it seems to have started happening like around about 2021, and I just don't know what happened. Can you think of anything that happened around 2021 that
Institutional
sparked
racism. That and
could be
climate change.
racism?
Yeah.
And obviously, since we last did our show, there's been lots of fires around the world. The world's burning up, the world's getting hotter. Everybody's dying. So maybe it could be climate change, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, that is another form of religion on its own there, the climate cult. So, yeah, of course. Because everything bad that happens is man-made climate change, as we all know.
Yeah. But we know one thing it definitely isn't, right? Because I know some evil people spreading misinformation, and we do not condone this on Truth Sentinels, but evil people spreading misinformation, Seth. I don't know if you heard about it, but they're saying that it could have been some kind of pharmaceutical treatment. I mean, can you imagine how ridiculous that is?
That seems so silly to me, Scott. I mean, who doesn't trust vaccines? Who doesn't trust pills? Who doesn't trust any of that? That's so silly. As we all know,
Those
they're
things
completely
are
safe and
made-
effective.
They're safe and effective. They were made to help everyone. And I mean, who do these people think they are, saying that it could be that? I mean, it's just so stupid. And we probably shouldn't even mention it again. Kieran says, got to be climate change, need to get to 0% carbon, which is a bit of a bummer because I've just had I've got some carbonated drink here.
Oh, God, so Scott, what are you doing?
Anyway, carry on. Sorry, you were talking about Elon Musk, Seth.
No, I was actually talking about Israel and stuff going on there. But yeah, Elon Musk is definitely still, like I said, limited hangout stuff where people will actually defend a lot of the elites that exist here just because they play into the culture war. The culture war itself is actually a complete and total waste of time and is part and parcel of the like 1984 style, a war that never ends, like a culture war that never ends because it's just over and over and over again. The goalposts move further and further in one of the two directions. The people on the right are always like, oh, God, we're going to own those people on the left. And the people on the left are always like, oh, we're going to own those people on the right. But nothing really goes anywhere. The only direction that we're going is like constant government being bigger, constant taxes getting higher, price of food, price of living getting worse, price of gas getting worse. My God, I have no idea what gas prices are like in Thailand right now, of all places. But here in the United States, they're pretty freaking heavy, man. They're well over what, like 5 something. I believe we're like 5.49, 5.59 a gallon right now. Like it's a bad time out here.
Well, I ride on a motorbike over here, and the price of gasoline went up during the pandemic, but it's not like enough that it changes. I haven't noticed it going up so much that it's changing. Lucky. Yeah, because everything tends to be cheaper here in Thailand anyway. So, yeah, no, it's still okay, but prices are going up a bit, but not compared to Europe, I think, and the US. Yeah.
Yeah, the U.S. here, it's getting real bad. In some states, it's way worse than Washington. And it's crazy to think because Washington actually has several oil refineries and stuff that actually produce gasoline, which is wild that we could somehow still have gas being made here and then have some of the most expensive gas in the country. It's just, God, I love politics.
Well, while I remember, I'm just going to post the link in case anyone wants to join us. I'll do it. It says an error occurred on YouTube. Ooh. This is usually temporary. Okay, well, I've already posted the link anyway, so if anyone does want to join us, you're quite welcome. Just come in. I'll bring you in. Try and get a headset or a microphone or something. Wonder why it's not letting me post that. Let me try again. No, that's weird. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, Kieran so far is on point here with the groups like Just Stop Oil are going to help usher in more government control over protests. Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact, considering that like most of the gas like price increase is because of government with taxation and stuff and trying to pivot away from using oil, which while look, I get on some environmentalist level, part of me that's like, well, yeah, screw big oil and all this. There's a serious problem, but government isn't like investing in a way, or nor is the free market really pivoting and investing in a way that is going to make electric power and electric powered cars super cheap at any point within like the next 10 to 15 years, man. We're talking like this is decades down the road that it becomes super affordable technology. And I don't think they care or wanting to like have everybody else catch up with that. So instead, they're just trying to price us all out of the market. It has a little bit to do with the, 15-minute cities and all that stuff of the smart cities of the future as they try and like destroy the idea of people living out in rural parts of any country there and trying to like concentrate people exclusively towards mega cities. So that's a whole thing if you want to get into a different kind of conspiracy stuff.
I just wanted to congratulate you, Seth, on you're living my dream at the moment. Although I'm partly living the dream by being on an island, but my ultimate dream, especially in current times, is to have some kind of mobile home, camper van, and either be stationary but have the capacity to move around. And have a woman that will actually want to live that kind of lifestyle. And you seem to have achieved that.
Oh, thanks,
is that not
man.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Here, let me pause for a second. Just keep talking. I got a truck pulling in right here.
Yeah, I thought I heard something. Just as I'm talking about the benefits of living in a mobile phone, I thought someone was trying to pick up your mobile phone and tip it over them. But yeah, no, so that is my ultimate dream. Or a log cabin in a forest. Honestly, if I could just get to a log cabin that for some reason I owned the land or something. Although to be honest, I just don't think anyone owns anything. I think if the government, if you own a bit of land, even if you've got a log cabin on it, and the government want to take that away later, they'll do it. But I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to have a place like that in a forest or. Yeah, for whatever's going to happen in the coming years, I still think.
Well, look up some pictures of Washington State, man. This is about as foresty as it can get within the continental U.S. So, I mean, I guess you could
very
go up to
difficult for
Alaska.
people like me to get to live in the U.S. You know, I know you've. I mean, Alex Jones.
But all
always
the
gone about
terrorism
border,
charges?
you can just walk in, but not people from England. They don't want us. I think I'm allowed to come on holiday to the States, but I'm not allowed to stay for.
What is
very long.
specifically their giant thing against English people?
I don't know, but I've noticed that like you can get the green card lottery, and they'll take anyone from all kinds of countries, but not British people. We're not allowed to take part in that.
It's weird because you're not the only person to tell me that too. That's what's kind of weird on that is I've heard that from multiple people now that are like, if you're British, it's kind of a giant pain in the ass. I've heard it from from people from most Western European countries. Is like
they really don't want us over there. Yeah, for some reason. Oh, wait a minute. I suppose there is that history thing.
Yeah,
where you went off in the Mayflower. I would have been on the Mayflower, by the way. Yeah, so I suppose that.
Well, yeah, I didn't go off the Mayflower. Somebody did at some point.
Somebody did,
Yeah. I didn't do that. Let's see. We have more news to cover if you want to go into a couple of these articles.
Yeah, keep going. I'd say we're probably down to our last 10 minutes. It's getting pretty late over here.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, carry on. Yeah.
Speed run through these. We got.
I have got one news article. I just wanted to flash up in a sec. So yeah.
Okay. Here, let me run through this real quick. We have from CNBC.com, quote, "There is nowhere to hide from the bombs," end quote. "Civilians trapped in Gaza cannot escape Israel's siege. Gaza Strip is under its 6th day of bombing." This is from, I believe, yesterday. Yeah. So 7 days now. Israel on Monday ordered a total siege of Gaza, cutting off the water, food, and electricity for its 2.2 million residents, which is classified as a war crime under the Geneva Convention. Israel has ordered 1.1 million people to evacuate northern Gaza, but they remain trapped in the blockaded enclave. Well, yeah, that is what happens when you put a full blockade on. How do you run from bombs when your borders are sealed off? In the Gaza Strip, a small stretch of land blockaded with walls, concrete walls and barbed wire fences, and whose last remaining border crossings have been shut, survival is increasingly a game of chance. Quote, "It's insane and brutal. I can't believe they're doing this to the whole population. The amount of airstrikes are massive." Omar, a Gazan development worker with 2 young children, told CNBC via voice note. Quote, "We're okay for now, but it's very scary. With each bomb, we feel it's going to be our turn." Omar asked that only his first name be used out of concern for his family. Without bomb shelters, people are trying to hide in hallways, away from the windows, or in schools, or even in the street alongside piles of rubble. But those spots aren't safe either, Palestinians in Gaza say. So we got that aspect to things. Continuing, we have Israeli defense minister. I thought you'd like to see this one. This is kind of rough here. Israel defense minister, come on, load it up. God dang, why is this being so slow? This is out of Huffington Post. Israeli defense minister announces siege on Gaza to fight, quote unquote, human animals. Defense minister Yoav Gallant called for denying Palestinian people electricity, food, water, and fuel as Israel continues its bombardment of Gaza. Israel's defense minister on Monday, this, like I said, out of Huffington Post, announced a complete siege of Gaza, describing the Palestinian fighters who attacked Israel over the weekend as human animals. Defense minister Yoav Gallant called for more destruction on top of the massive number of airstrikes Israel has launched into Hamas-ruled territory of 2.3 million people in retaliation for Hamas's surprise attack this weekend that left more than 700 people in Israel dead. Israel formally declared war on the Hamas militant group on Sunday, pointing to the large military mobilization that has nearly killed 500 people in Gaza already. Oh, dude, yeah, it's more than that. From where is this? When was this on? This was on October 9th. Yeah, so this is pretty fucking old. Or sorry, I'm cursing. This is pretty old at this point. There's like thousands and thousands dead on both sides.
Yeah, but how retarded is that someone thinks you should go and bomb a population for something a group of terrorists did? That's the thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the same as the United States, man. They did the exact same thing with Iraq and Afghanistan. They're like, we're going to bomb those Afghans into the Stone Age. Well, why is that? Well, because some guys, mostly from Saudi Arabia, supposedly did 9/11, and so we're
and let's expand
it. Afghanistan.
Let's expand it to. I would say I would expand that to all the wars, every single war. Like, how retarded is it that politicians settle disputes by saying, we're going to bomb the hell out of your civilians, and you're going to bomb the hell out of ours, and whoever kills the most of our civilians, we'll sit down at the end over a cup of tea and decide and divide up the land or something. It's so retarded. People just need to understand how stupid the whole thing is. Yeah,
indeed, man, indeed. Well, I mean, hot retarded chicks says yes, sir. So I mean, you got one person in.
I wanted to ask hot retarded chicks, are you a man or a woman? I might have asked you before, but I'm still confused. Let me just, I was going to show there was an article on the BBC today, which I wanted to just quickly show. Let me try and find it now. Hang on a moment. It was talking about COVID, our old friend COVID. Oh, here we are. Hang on a sec. Basically the article is entitled, "Is COVID a winter bug?" Just a winter bug now, like the old flu. Do you remember that? So they're saying, there's a whole article on the BBC, is COVID now just a regular winter bug? I thought it was kind of the BBC to suggest that that's all it might be now.
Interesting. Never would have thought that.
Yeah, before obviously it was like a killer disease that you had to cover yourself in cellophane and make sure you never touched anyone. But now it's just a regular winter bug. There's the BBC. Just in case everyone was worried and thought it was a deadly disease, it's now just a regular winter bug. I just thought that was nice of the BBC to. I
mean, at one point that would have been flagged as misinformation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that tends to be what the BBC does. What else was I going to say? Can't remember anymore. I posted a few links to. I've posted the Truth Sentinel email address if anyone wants to contact us with any ideas or anything. Also the website. We are on Rumble, but it went a bit wrong today. I'll try and sort that out for next time. But I'm going to try and post you the link to the Rumble site so people can go. I need as many people as possible to to start going over
Yep.
to Rumble and sign up there, subscribe, so that because we're probably going to every time we do an episode, we get a strike. This episode is probably going to get a strike.
fact.
And then they backdate strikes, so they keep putting strikes on for episodes I did like a year or two ago, or even 3 years ago. So I mean, if we stay on here, the channel's just gonna disappear. So please go to Rumble, and I think that link may be correct. Please check that link I posted, rumble.com /TruthSentinel. It might be correct. Go over there. Please subscribe. And then at some point, we will just switch entirely to Rumble. We won't even bother with YouTube because we shouldn't really be
YouTube's
supporting them
trash.
at all. Yeah, they're just basically condoning censorship, and we don't want to be any part of them. Unfortunately, there is a chat. Rumble doesn't have like a chat, but I think we can probably find one, make our own. There's sites where we can make our own, so we can get our own chat going.
Yep.
Probably going to finish in the next 4 minutes. So if anyone wants to make any final comments, please go ahead. How about you, Seth? Any last words for today?
Yeah, let's see. I got no real article stuff other than what we had. Why Israel's siege of Gaza is legal under international law. I've got a thing here from USA Today talking about why it's entirely legal. So that's a thing. If you're on the side of legality equals morality, remember that one. This is all completely moral because it's all completely legal. So that's wonderful. Syria accuses Israel over Aleppo airstrike. A facility was targeted hours after it returned to service following a Thursday air raid. That's kind of interesting considering what does Syria have to do with Hamas? Why would Syria be getting attacked over any of this in a retaliation unless it's just more warmongering? But, questions there. Questions as always. Glad to talk to you again, Scott. It's really cool. I know we have different perspectives on this, but it's also really just fun to be able to talk about it because I don't necessarily take it. I think it's good
to have different perspectives. I mean, we tend to agree on a lot of things, but even slight.
Well, human life matters more than any of what I believe or you believe or anything like that.
And I think we agree on. I think there's some other people that disagree with me on this Palestine thing, but I think most of the people that we might disagree on some things, we both agree that we don't think innocent people should die. I think we should.
Facts. Whether they're Jewish or Muslim or Palestinian or Israeli or whatever. Yeah, no, for real. That's definitely a thing.
Apologies to everyone for the long break we had. It was partly to do with the problem with the strikes on YouTube. One more, and they were going to delete the channel. Partly, I needed a break as well. It's so nice on this island in Thailand. I just wanted to forget about everything sometimes. This does cost a bit now on Rumble. I do have to pay on Rumble on StreamYard. If anyone wants to contribute, even just I tried to post the link there, but they're not letting me post anything for some reason on this. But you can find the link. Maybe it's there now. You can find the donation link on YouTube by clicking on About. If anyone, only if obviously you have a bit of money spare, and certainly don't want much, only just to pay the costs. Sometimes I'm on a bit of a tight budget, but otherwise, please share the video, and so we can get more listeners. That's always useful. And nice to chat to everyone again. Nice to speak to you, Seth. And we'll be back again. Let's just say we'll try and go every 4 weeks again as before. Yeah. If we want to, but if big world events happen in the meantime, then we'll do a show earlier or something like that. Yeah.
Sounds good, man. Also, as time goes on, I might eventually have my own little recording area in my trailer and stuff, and I think that'll make it a lot easier in general. So that's pretty fun. But anyways, it was very nice to join you. Very nice to talk to everybody and to see everybody in the chat there again. God, I absolutely miss it. I wish we could get some of the old callers and stuff back on because I love hearing everybody's perspective and seeing what they're dealing with right now and whatnot. But love y'all and have a fantastic afternoon, morning, evening, whenever it is, wherever it is that you're listening to it. Have a great one, guys. Peace.
Yep. Have a good one. Bye-bye.